What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today. It is Tuesday, January 9th at 3:13 p.m. Pacific, and I'm coming to you today to sharpen this sweet little S90V Lil Native carbon fiber scales sprint run. It is, I believe, the very last Spyderco except for my subverts. I have not sharpened yet because I'm out of knives to sharpen. So I need your knives. Like, I got one knife in for a customer yesterday and I finished it. So now I'm back to doing my own knives. So got my own Lil Native. We're going to sharpen this guy. It's probably not going to take us too long. So because of that, we're going to probably mirror it. Yeah, let's mirror it. But I'll give it a few minutes here. If you are joining us on the YouTube, like Jordan Roberts over here, thank you. My new goal is to populate the YouTube channel, get a lot of content going over there. I've made a couple of videos. I've streamed about 30 sharpening sessions over the last 2 weeks. So yeah, check out the Millie Club YouTube account if you're watching this on Facebook. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. And make sure you subscribe. Grown about 100 followers in the last week, which is pretty cool to do. It's like social media used to be. Like Instagram used to be easy to grow on as a knife account. Like legit did not used to be hard. Like I used to grow 20 to 40 followers a day on Instagram when I first started. And it was fun and games. And then it all kind of a couple years ago the party came to an end and it became a lot tougher to grow. I spent years stuck at the same amount. So I want to get on YouTube, try out this new YouTube algorithm, and see if I can get this account to grow, which would be really cool because YouTube content stays green forever. So people will keep on going back and checking out these old videos. And views will keep on going. So I think that's really neat. I just never gave YouTube a chance. So let me get this penned and we'll get this thing sharpened. Pinning to the featured posts in the group. If you're ever looking for FFIB or whatever the most current cool video content we have produced is, it is in the top of the group. So when you're on your phone, go to the top of the group. The first post you see, you can swipe sideways on them. They're called featured posts or they're called announcements. I don't know why, but it calls them both. Anyway, that's where all the most current, coolest posts of the group are, like forever. Like good reference material is in there, like how to swap a scale swap or how to fix centering on a pair of 3 or interview with Eric Blesser or stuff like that. That goes on our featured post section. All right. So today we're going to be sharpening with my TSProf Kadet Nero using the center clamp. We are using Hapstone Premium CBN. We're going to start at 150 grit for our Lil Native. So we're going to mount this little guy in the jaws. This thing is spread wide open from doing the Medford yesterday. As wide as the jaws would go. So doing a Lil Native is like most Spydercos from Golden. What we're going to want to do, and this doesn't work out as well on Lil Natives as it does on some other knives, is we're going to want to line the flat grind line parallel with the stone so we don't saw on top of it and so we can get right up next to it. That leaves the knife looking like this in the clamps. It's not perfect tip to heel parallel, but it's a small blade and it's a very small distance it's changing. So that's where we're going to leave it. Man, cranking this way down. Okay, sharpie your edge. Yo, Victor. Thank you for joining me. And you're welcome, Facebook user. Okay. Since this is a Spyderco, the first thing I'm going to do, so it matches all my other Spydercos, is I'm going to set it to 17 degrees. 17 degrees is the angle that Spydercos are supposed to be at. And I mean that for any Spyderco I've ever checked. It's the same for Golden, it's the same for Taichung, it's the same for Seiki. I don't know if I've checked a European one, but I'm guessing it's the same as well. So 17 degrees. And we're still going to use a Sharpie, and we're going to see what it leaves us looking like. So on side one, which is a little tiny bevel, 17 degrees is not too far off. It's towards the leading edge, which means the existing angle is less than 17 degrees because we're too high. And the opposite side is a little bit too low, not far off either. So we're going to go with these measurements at 17 degrees. It looks like it won't be too hard to profile. And here we go. We're going to check our stop collar. Important to always do that. Make sure that the stone doesn't go past the front of the edge. This is a small knife, and I like to use as much of my stone as possible. So I'm going to actually move the stop collar to give me a little more space. Get closer to the edge. Make sure this is tightened down really tight in general, not just on the system, but like the Hapstone, I just kind of half-ass finger tightened it once and it failed on me. So make sure you tighten stuff down on these systems, because when they fail in bad times. Bad times for everybody. Okay, so here's an interesting predicament. I plastic dipped these jaws, so they're a little bit thicker than they were from the factory. And I used a chamois cloth underneath them, so it makes them spread a little bit wider than they would by themselves. And the problem is the stone at 17 degrees is too close to the clamps and it's like sawing on the rubber plastic dip. So we're going to have to move it a little bit further out in the jaws. So if your stone hits your clamp, you want to move this as far out as possible. So I had it stuck in pretty far because I wanted to hold it tight, but we're going to have to back it out a little bit just to be able to sharpen it. Let's see if this will work. Okay, we have to reset 17 degrees now because we're not at the same angle because we moved it. So now we're at 16.2 degrees. We have to go up to 17. So hopefully that's enough of a move that this will work. If not, we're going to have to get a little creative. There we go. It's important to check when you're sharpening. It's not so bad on a Spyderco that has like a heel when it's satin. You can just kind of shove the stone right up against the flat grind, and you really aren't going to affect too much if you have a non-gridded side stone. You're just shoving a piece of metal against metal. So you can really get in there and get that heel on this little edge. Okay, heel's pretty much done. We have a little divot in front of it like usual. Okay, so we're not 100% done with this side, but we have a burr. So we've sharpened it at high enough of an angle. So we have some spots we're going to come back and hit, but let's flip before we get too far ahead of ourselves. I know, it's hard to control. And when I get after it, when I'm profiling, it shakes my whole desk, and my monitor is sitting on my desk, and on top of my monitor is this camera. So I try to, like, when I notice it, stop, but it's really hard to control. Maybe I should sharpen less aggressively, but that's not as fun. So this side, the Sharpie came off pretty easy. We have a little divot in the edge as well on this side. So we're just kind of sawing into the heel by turning the stone a little bit to kind of tuck back into there, get the very end of the heel. You want to be careful when you're doing heels. Usually it works out okay on knives with the full flat grind like this when you're just taking the factory edge and doing the heel. But if you overdo the heel, and it's not easy to overdo it this bad, but I've definitely done it more than once, is if you put a smile at the end of the heel, so it goes straight, then it goes up. That's what you want to avoid. So you want to saw on your heel, but keep checking it to make sure you don't start making a smile that goes up the blade. So we have a spot that we have to get out in front of it. So we just have to be careful not to overdo the heel, because it kind of ruins a knife for me. I'm not going to lie. It's hard to unsee once you've seen one. It makes you feel like you failed every time you look at it. So I had a bunch of those knives that had smiled edges. Not a bunch, maybe like 4 or 5. But when I did my big sell-off, like I put fresh edges on all of them, made it as good as I could with my new improved skills. But when I started, I used to do it all the time. And I sold all those ones off because they bummed me out to look at them. So I just sold them for cheap, even though they're perfectly good shape. They just bothered me. Okay, switching back to side one, we got to finish profiling this. Got a little more work in front of the heel, a little divot. And we have a little bit more work on the top of the bevel at the tip. So the tip is at a lower angle than the rest of the edge, which is very common. So it takes a little bit of extra sawing on the tip to get it all the way off and all the way square with the rest of the edge. And to do that, I go straight into it, like at a perpendicular angle to the edge. And then I take the edge and I go straight to kind of fade it back into the rest of the edge. Okay, so our tip is good. We got a really heavy burr. We still have a little bit of work to do at this heel, so I'm not going to switch until I'm all done. So that's one thing I think a lot of people miss out on, is like they just want to move through the grits, and they think the highest grit is the most important one. That's what's going to make your knife sharp. This is what's going to make your knife sharp, is your lowest grit, what you're profiling to, because your other stones don't take shit off for metal. And so if you want to get rid of all of your problems, do it with your best tool. So I still have a little bit of Sharpie that I could probably get rid of with the 400 grit stone, but why would I do that when I can just get rid of it with this and just keep on going until I'm done? So it's a little bit of Sharpie left, and I want all the way gone before I switch sides and before I switch stones. You don't want there to be anything outstanding on your edge that you could repair with it, because if you go up a stone, you're not going to be able to get rid of it. Okay, major burr. So now we're going to deburr this side. This side's not as off. There's no Sharpie left on this side, so we're already profiled. So now we're really just kind of give the edge a scrub to keep it even with the other side. Keep everything symmetrical and reduce the burr. I really need to practice my tips and heels. They always seem to be tough. They are the hardest part by far. The middle of the edge is fucking easy. It's the tip and the heel. It's the details that make a good edge, and the details make what's hard. So yeah, you can sharpen stuff and just ignore the tip and the heel, and you'll be able to cut whatever you want, because most of your edge is sharp. But practice on your heels. Spyderco heels are really easy as long as you have the right kind of stones. So if you're like a KME stones are perfect for Spyderco heels. And tips, my tip on the tip is use your finger, hold it under, and that will keep you from rolling the stone and rounding the tip off. Okay, we're going to switch to 400 grit stone. We have a pretty big burr from that 150. It's definitely apexed. Both sides has a burr. So now we're just trying to reduce the burr and polish the bevels. We decided we're going to mirror this one. So 400 is like my stone. Like you actually are doing stuff, it feels like, if that makes sense. Like your 150, you're profiling, you can see it bite into stuff and move it. And at 400, if you sharpen an existing edge, you can get a burr and it will actually, like, it's aggressive enough to do stuff, even though it's very smooth. On anything higher than this, though, is just polishing and doesn't really eat any steel. Cool. If you use a KME, just follow the steps at the beginning of this video. But what you do is, I would set your angle at 17 degrees. But since that's a little more advanced, you start with the Sharpie method, which should get you close to 17. Make sure you're really dialed in on what your edge profile looks like. And as soon as you are, swipe the whole edge clean and then just dive on the heel and start scrubbing up and down the heel vertically, and then fading out strokes. And with the KME stones, the way they're so square, the gold plates, they'll give you a perfect heel. Like some of my best heels were done on my KME still to this day. These stones are better stones, but they're just as square as the KME was, so the KME did a great job too. Now we're going to reverse our scratch pattern real quick, just to find out if there's anything hiding from us. Okay, so we're checking out our edge, looking at it in the light, looking at it in different shadows, make sure it's all lined up. Second pass, second side. Sup, MJ? Now remind me, is your name JH? You tag this in your Facebook profile. Is JH, right? Is your Facebook profile? And it's like a Yankee symbol. So I can coordinate the two profiles. Okay, I'm jumping up to 800 grit. At 800 grit with these halfstones, it really kills the burr. Like you actually watch little crumbles come off the edge, like little dust particles start to really gather. It really starts to just polish it and make the edge complete. 400 grit, you can totally stop and get an insane sharp, aggressive edge off of it. 800 grit is somewhere between a satin and a polished edge. It's slightly polished. It reflects light, but it's not clearly. So we're just going to do one pass. So we want to make sure our edge is legit. Okay. Working on a blade this small is kind of funny. It takes almost as long. So people always think like, I mean, short blades definitely take less time, but since the hard part of a blade is the heel and the tip anyway, the middle part, you know, is the difference between stroking 2 inches and stroking 1.5 inches. It's not a big difference between a PM2 and a pair of 3. They cost the same for me doing that. Do you have any tips for getting a shaman securely clamped in a KME? I can get my other Spydercos clamped in tight, but the shaman has play no matter. I don't know what to tell you other than when I had a KME, I sharpened with oil when I was using my KME. and oil would get into my jaws, or when I use water would get into the jaws, and it'd cause it to get slippery unless you like took it apart and really cleaned it up. Might do that. I'm not sure. Other than that, what's going on with your KME? It should clamp a Shaman the same as every other Spyderco because it's just a flat ground blade. Are you trying to clamp it in the center like this or off on the flat? Now I forget if I did this side. Probably did. Let's do it again real quick. Making sure to get 800. I always make sure to get lots of vertical scratches at the heel. Heels will have more scratches just because they're harder to get. So make sure you work them. 2000 grit stone. So this polishes pretty much right away. Like one pass and you look at it, you're like, whoa, what happened? How did it go so shiny? So this jump is 800 to 2000, which seems big to me. I don't know shit about stones, but that seems like a lot, but it works out really well. It's the set that Halfstone, it's the progression Halfstone recommends. There is a 1000 grit stone and a 1500 grit stone in between them if you are interested, but you really don't need to because you can just jump to 2000 and it gives you beautiful looking polished edge. Not necessarily a mirror, but it's very mirror-like, very shiny. It's got some scratches, not perfect, but it's very attractive, especially after you strop it. So we're going to go up to 8,000 though. So 5,000 grit stone. So at 5,000 grit, it feels like glass sliding on glass. The bevel is so smooth and the stone is so smooth, it doesn't really feel like you're doing anything. So I kind of just dick around and scrub the edge, and I assume I'm polishing in some level, but it's really weird when it feels like you get this high. It feels like you're doing no work. It's so smooth and so polished at this level. And we're still going to go up higher than this. Last stone. So go in the comments. I've been clamping it parallel from the line from heel to toe, which puts it at an edge. Push it at an angle, I mean. What I would suggest doing, and it's not much different, but clamp it this way. So clamp it in the center, equal amounts of blades sticking out front and back on the flat grind, about halfway down the blade. But then when you line it up, when you do the rotation to get where you want to sit, line it up instead of tip to heel. Line it up so the stone, when you push the stone up against the edge, the flat grind line is parallel. That's how you get the whole heel. It might not solve your clamping problems, but that's how you should clamp it to get a good edge. Those little details really make an edge set apart, like a good heel, a good tip, you know, attractive polish, like being aggressively sharp. All those little things add up to being an awesome heel. I'm still learning and getting better every day, but those things are starting to line up now where every knife I do is starting to make me excited and happy and excited to post content and show off what it looks like, because with good equipment you really can do some pretty impressive shit. But even with the KME, the $200 setup, you can. I was doing mirrors for probably 2 years on my KME, and I couldn't be happier with them. They were what I wanted at the time. Okay, so now we are done with our stones. We're going to drop into the strop. We're going to start with a 0.5 micron strop. And we are going to set this thing. We're going to wash the edge off. Someone taught me that the other day. Get all the junk off the edge so we're not picking it up with the strop. Okay, put the strop down. Get our angle cube. So we're going to go changing to the strop from the stones because they're different thicknesses. We're now at 17.9 degrees because they're different. So now we're going to raise it up to 17. There's also some logic about keeping it slightly higher than your sharpening edge because the strop has forgive in it because it's got leather. And it's also trying to just hit the front edges where you're really most important part. So it's okay if you're probably a little bit higher, but you definitely want to be higher, not lower. Because if you're too low, you won't be hitting the apex of the edge at all. But I set to the same angle. So we're going to do pulling strokes. Careful on the tip, lift off. I always get so obsessed with getting the tip to be as shiny as possible, but it's you don't need to ruin your strop trying to strop it to the end of the world. Okay. .25 micron kangaroo leather strop with gunny juice on it. Now we're getting into real good looking mirrors. And this is unnecessary. There's no reason to do this if you're just using a knife. This is because I wanted to demonstrate on video how easy it is to do a mirror. But honestly, if you're using and carrying a knife, don't mirror it unless it's like a Koenig or a Chris Reeve or something that you want to show off that you don't need to have a super aggressive edge on. I can make this polished edge very sharp, but I can make a non-polished edge sharper. And sometimes that's all that matters. And it still looks really nice. But this is cool. It's fun showing off mirrors. I love taking videos of them. Once you learn how to get the edge in the right light, is really important. It shows off the edge a lot better if you know what you're doing in the lighting department. Okay, last drop is 0.1 micron gunny juice. Mr. Scott Gunn gave me the whole set to try out. And I have been doing a lot of stropping on my TSProf now instead of on a paddle strop. And I'm starting to really enjoy it. And I'm starting to really find less stress in it now because I'm not worried about putting a polished shadow above the edge. I'm not worried about finding the angle. My strops are pretty torn up anyway, so it was kind of time to retire them. Still have them, still can use them for whatever, but for a polished edge off of this machine, there's no reason not to just do it this way. It doesn't take that long, and it feels like I'm doing a lot better job. And the results are crazy sharp. Okay, we're all done. Someone said on my YouTube page yesterday that I was using this clamp wrong. I was clamping a Medford, however, so it probably wasn't. They're probably not wrong about me using it wrong. However, if I am using this wrong and someone wants to explain how to use it differently, please do. Because I feel like I know it works, but I'm making sure it's the right way to work it. Okay. Here we go. There's our project for the day. 8,000 grit, 0.1 micron stropped. S90V, my favorite steel. S90V edge. S90V kicks ass. It seems commonplace to some people because you can get on a Benchmade. It's been around for a long time. The S90V is a fucking super steel. Still is to this day. There is a reason every first sprint run comes out with carbon fiber steels in S90V. Is Eric and Sal fucking love the steel because it's really good. It's got edge retention like a tool steel does, like 10V or K390, but it's stainless. So there you go. Well, cool. That was fun. Let's see if it cuts. That's, minor details. Let's see if it cuts. Oh, yeah. It's a laser beam. Let's see if it cuts little curlicues. It's kind of hard to cut curlicues sometimes with polished edges. Easier with aggressive edges. And it's very smooth cutting. Holla! Well, cool. Well, I will cut this video and download that part to YouTube. And for now, let's just talk and have fun and see what's going on until I have to go pick up my kids from daycare in 15 minutes. What up, Nice Edge? I'm about to go make another sharpening video with the KME. Your sharpening videos and lives have definitely helped me out a lot with the KME. Awesome. I'm glad. That's why I do this. It's fun. I like watching people learn. Some people, I think it's just in their nature to like not trust people having the best intention in life. Like people have asked me like, why do you teach people how to sharpen? Because then they'll sharpen and they won't send you knives. I'm like, not really. Yeah, I get it. But I like teaching people to sharpen. I'm happy to do whatever. It takes a long time to get, you're always improving. It took me a long time to get to where I was confident enough to do it professionally. And in the last year doing it professionally, I have improved so much. Like I thought I was good when I started, but like it's not. I mean, it was fine, but there's a lot of things that I've learned that aren't even complex things. Just no one taught me that I've gotten better at doing. Yeah. So I'm always learning. The never-ending journey, learning how to sharpen. But there's lots of good resources in the group. Brian Patrick Spalding, if you have a KME and have questions or issues, Brian Patrick Spalding is KME's customer service rep. He is a very active member in the group. He also has a good sharpening group that I still visit, even though I don't have a single KME product anymore, is the KME group. KME group is a great place to learn to sharpen. It's the most active sharpener group because KME is the most popular sharpener. A lot of professional sharpeners I know visit that group and comment and still chime in because we all learned on the KME and the KME still kicks ass. So it's a great system for 95% of people that won't outgrow it. But if you do outgrow it, this TSProf is a great option. As is this new guy I got, the Hapstone RS. That's the next stop after the KME, but the KME does all you need. I am interested in the Hapstone R2 as well. I don't know why it costs so much more than the RS is my only thing, because the RS is basically the same thing, but smaller, and it costs way less. So I don't know what the R2 is like, but R2 is not overly expensive because it's like the same price as a Kadet. I would send you knives I'm scared to sharpen later. Please do. Please send me anything you're scared to sharpen. I have sharpened knives in excess of $2,000. Quite a few of them, actually. I sharpen fancy knives. I'm not scared of anything as long as it's not a recurve, and I prefer no out the fronts, but I'll do them. What up, Matthew Blair? Thanks for joining again. Quantavious Washington asks, what are the best diamond stones to buy? So there's two types of super abrasives, let's call them that. So if you're sharpening Spydercos, which I'm sure most of you are, you're going to be tackling steels that a ceramic stone or a natural stone can't cut. They can't cut into the surface to sharpen. So what you want to use is, people always say diamonds, but so there's diamond is a super abrasive, and so is CBN. CBN is cobalt, what is it? Boric nitride or something like that. It's a very hard particle. It's not as hard as diamond, but it's less aggressive finishing. So I couldn't love these more. But so these are Hapstone premium CBNs. So CBN stones cost more than diamond stones. because they leave a better finish. So Hapstone also makes premium diamonds that cost about 50 or 60 bucks a stone when this costs 80 bucks a stone. But if you're out looking for the best, I can't recommend these high enough. If you don't want to do mirrors, you can just get a 150 and a 400 grit stone of this, and you'll be fucking rocking. The thing I like about this the most, though, is what this material is made of. So this has CBM particles in it, but it's a solid piece of metal. So what they did is they melted the metal with all this shit in it. And so when you run out of particles on top, what you do is you just put a little light acid etch on here, and it uncovers a little bit of the particles. So these will last, because you're taking off so little material, a very long time compared to resin bonded stones. Resin bonded stones have diamond particles in a resin, and resin is not as hard as metal, so they wear out and they cup, or they're hard to get flat sometimes. So I fucking swear by these Hapstone premium CBNs. Walter Calico in the group just bought premium diamonds. He's the first person I know that they're using the diamonds that I'm aware of. So yeah, if you want his advice, check those out. I used the resin bonded Venev Orions. They're expensive and they were an upgrade over what I was using. I was using a mixture of Atoma stones and KME diamond plates, and I switched to Venevs. I had 4-inch Venevs, I think. Yeah, I had 4-inch Venevs. No, 6. I had 6-inch Venevs, and they cost as much as this set. But when I sold them, the person had to have them lapped and flattened and all sorts of stuff just to get them to right, because I abused them for not very long, and they showed their age and they got worn out pretty quick. So then they require a lot more maintenance than these metallic bonded stones. So metallic bond is the way to go. If you want a good option for a CBN stone, what I've been told by many people, so these are the Hapstone Premium CBNs. There's also the Hapstone Start CBNs. So the difference is the Start CBN is just a blank like this. This is a piece of aluminum, and then they put CBN particles on this surface, and they're adhered there, just like a KME stone is. And those are supposed to give really great results. I think they're $34 a stone. So if I was going the budget route, I would get the Start setup. If I was going the pro route, I'd get these. I got a work sharp first, then a KME. Now have the TSProf, but don't have the clamp. You have a lot of smaller blades. I still use a KME. Yeah, dude, this clamp is killer. You can also buy the adapter where you can use the Kadet clamps, the 2, and what it does is it joins them in the middle and gives you a new screw location. So there's an adapter on Gritomatic. Just type in center clamp. It's a center clamp adapter. Or you can buy these. They're $100. It's worth it, but I also had to buy the spring. So these are different springs that come with it because they're thicker. The spring that comes with it is very flimsy, and actually I should probably double them up on top of this. So this is cool. You can also use existing ones and use the center adapter though, so those work out well. But yeah, clamping in the center is a lot better. Jordan says, I'm still using my rookie setup Lansky system. That's okay, because if you can get the principles of sharpening down with the Lansky, if you understand what you're doing and what apexing an edge is and what creating a burr is, that's all that really matters as far as getting sharp. You have better results with the more expensive system, but getting the basics down on a Lansky is totally fine. Yes, I have a YouTube channel. It is the group's YouTube channel. It's Millie PM2 P3 Club. It's on YouTube. We have 1,600 followers, and I'm growing it quickly over the last couple weeks. I've put all of these videos on YouTube. So there's like 30 from the last 2 weeks of me sharpening shit. So check it out, subscribe, follow, all that good jazz. A lot of people like Knight's Edge and Jordan, they're actually watching from YouTube right now. So it's live over there and it's live here. There's 13 people watching from here though. Oh, Quantavius just brought TSProf Kadet Pro baller move. That's the system to have. I like my Nero, but when the Pro came out, I was like, damn it, why did I wait till the Pro came out? I'm used to this knob. I can adjust it. It's not a big deal. But the Pro has a dial, like a microscope, so it cranks this thing up and down like mechanically, which looks cool and it's fancier than just loosening a nut and then moving the arm. But they both work. I may have to buy them a stone at a time. Seriously, I've said this to many people, and it's the best way to try them out. Buy the 150 and the 400 grit stone. I believe they're now shipping from the United States, so it doesn't take as long to get. So the premium CBNs, you can spend $160, and you're only going to get 2 stones for that much money. So it might seem crazy, but that's all you need to do to have the most baller satin edges and repair almost anything and be able to profile any steel, Maximate, K390, 10V, 15V, all that shit with 2 stones, the 150 to 400. So try that out. And then if you like them, you can buy the rest of the set one at a time. I appreciate that, Poncho, watching on YouTube. There's some people that always watch over there, and I love it. And here I am on the YouTube subscribe. Love it, Easy K. Buy once, cry once is a very good adage in the sharpening hobby. I wish someone would have taught me. I've been through a decent chunk of sharpeners. I haven't used a Wicked Edge, but pretty much everything else, or a Tormek, anything like belt powered or wheel powered, I haven't used. But guide systems, I've gone through quite a few. They are fun, but take this investment if you're going to make this investment. I didn't realize how important your stones are until I started doing like these beautiful fucking mirrors and these really sharp edges and fast. I can mirror a Spyderco. You just saw me do it in 30 minutes or whatever. If I was doing this without talking and whatever, I could do this in 15 minutes, 12 minutes. It's fast. And I never thought I'd be able to do a mirror like this with my KME stones. And I couldn't. I'd stropped my KME stone stuff to get like this. But yeah, these just turn out the best edges. So Knight's Edge asking what stones he should get next. He has the basic TSProf ones. The ones that come with it are based on how much it costs, quite inexpensive stones. And what I would suggest, and I haven't used these myself, but I have been told by multiple people that I highly trust. In fact, people that told me that are the people that told me to use the ones I'm using now. So stones, we're going to go to Diamond and CBN on Hapstone's website. And here we go. Here's the premium diamond. Those are 67 a piece. Here's the premium CBN. This is what I use. What I would do is I would go down to these, though, the Hapstone Start CBNs. These are $34 a piece. And I would get, let's see how much they all cost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll cost you $170. That'll get shipped to you for free. That's not cheap, but that's about half as much as it's going to cost you to get the premiums. Some of those are out of stock, it looks like. Availability, out of stock, in stock, out of stock. So some of them are in stock. I don't know. Check out Grid Magic's website as well. Or just keep tabs on that. I would buy those stones, though. Why are you surprised I have a Lil Native that I've never carried? At one point, before you joined the group, Christian, I have a hunch. I don't know if you realize how many knives I used to have. I used to have like 400 Spydercos. So I had all the Lil Natives at one point, and I had several of this one, and I had several of, one point I had 5 Rex 45 Lil Natives. So yeah, I have them. I just don't carry them. I think they're cool knives though. Only problem Lil Native has is the fact that the big Native exists. And the reason is the Lil Native's not much smaller in pocket than the big Native is. So they're the same width. I'm only saving a little bit of length in pocket. I just carry a full-size Native. That's why I never carry a Lil Native, though. And it never had my edge until now. So maybe now that I have an edge, I'll carry it. Although I don't like the peel ply on this scale. Maybe I'll sand these scales down. I do like the peel ply or the carbon fiber on the Native Chief. I wish the Lil Native was smooth like this one. I swear my Hapstone 1600 grit CBN gives the same thing as my. That is the benefit of having good stones, is they do more work and they leave better finishes, and that's why they cost more. So yeah, I agree with that. Also, there's different grit rating systems that I don't understand. There's like JIS is what the Hapstones are rated in, JIS grit. I don't know how that transfers over to Micron. I don't know how it transfers over to grit from Russia, how they rate stuff. It's all different. So that's why when people ask me, like, I'll get a 500 grit or a 400 grit stone from this company, and I'll get my 1,000 grit from this company, and I'll get my 2,000 grit from another company. Those aren't necessarily going to line up in the right progression because, you know, like you said, a 600 is the same as your 1,500. So that's the kind of edge it's going to leave. I sold off literally, I've probably sold stuff coming in and going out. My maximum, I was probably a little over 400. I probably sold about 400 knives, considering what I've bought since then and sold since then. It's been a couple years of doing it, but I do it in chunks, like every 6 months. I'm like done though. I can't really part with many more knives. I go through my case every day trying to sell something just for fun. But when I would list knives, I would list 5 at a time. I'd list them for cheap. It was just like very freeing of my OCD. So my OCD caused me to accumulate exponentially too many knives, and I kept them in a safe in boxes, and I sold them off one at a time until I finally ripped the Band-Aid off and just realized I don't need it. And once I did that, it was very freeing for my OCD and my mental health to realize I don't need every single fucking knife. I just need the ones I want. And in fact, I don't even carry stock knives anymore, so I could just customize a couple and love them. So that's kind of what I did. I've heard people explain that grit chart and Gritomac, but I still don't understand it other than there's differences. I have it somewhere in my office. They gave it to me at Shot or a Blade Show. It just kind of shows like the range of like, this is 1,000 over here, but this one's 1,000 finishes like this. I don't know. Just stay with the same brand stones and go through the rotation. Okay, well, it's 4 o'clock, West Coast. I gotta go pick up my son from daycare. It was real, y'all. Had a good time. Let's do it again tomorrow. Peace out. Bye.